It's the Morning Sports Report on Trib Live Radio at TribLIVE.com. The great guy Junker, Ken Laird, all brought to you by Cash and Culture. CashandCulture.com with 4 great stores in Western PA. Westmoreland Mall, Century 3 Mall, North Huntington, and Bell Vernon. And they, of course, are your pop culture and retro gaming headquarters. Guy, it's not often I disrobe on the show to begin the video yet, but
we got epic
is
selection.
It time for the Pirates?
There's always the Pirates. Where did you get that?
My sister gave me this gift many years ago in the midst of the 20-year losing streak with the It's a Wonderful Life visual. Is it that time again? The Browns are the Browns last night. The Pirates are the Pirates. Or is there yet fight in this Pittsburgh ball club with McCutchen back today and Garrett Cole tomorrow?
I think that's the last gasp. I mean, they got to turn it around. And, the funny thing is you go through the season with no losing streak longer than 4 games until this one, but no winning streak longer than 4 games. And what I had really thought for much of the summer was at some point they were going to win maybe not 10 in a row, but 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and really, at some point continue to play well at home and get hot on the road and have a big chunk that really gets them in the mix for the division. Injuries, I guess, are an excuse. They've been dealing with a lot at one time. Frankly, when you look at the star power on the team that's missed significant playing time this year, it's kind of amazing they are where they are. But, I think this is the last gasp. I think they're ready to fall off the cliff, and they really got to turn it around soon here against these teams. The good and bad news is, the bad news is they're playing all these teams that are fighting for play. The good news is, well, you can make up ground immediately. For example, last weekend when Milwaukee goes and sweeps the Dodgers, no matter what you do, you're not going to gain any ground against them anyway. There was a point earlier this year where everybody was so bad where you could have lost 6 in a row, you'd have gained a half game on somebody, But right now, everybody else seems to be winning. They are losing, and they can make up the ground, though. They come back and take these, next 2 against the Braves, take 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee, and by next Monday, you're still in the thick of things and hopefully healthy.
This is a big series against Atlanta. You're now trailing Atlanta in the playoff race.
Yeah.
You can't fall too far. You've got to turn it around quick. Tonight, stop the bleeding. Liriano, your alleged ace on the mound, has got to be dazzling. It's not anybody's fault but Vance Worley's from last night.
Right. Well, as we've, especially like even in hockey, when we're looking at teams in recent years, not the Penguins, but teams the Penguins might play early on and who's at the bottom, if you have one team to catch, it's doable. If maybe you're only 4 points out of a playoff spot, or in baseball, 4 games out of a wild card spot. But if there's one team you're trying to catch, it's doable. If there's 3 other teams in front of you, they're all not going to be cold at the same time. So, yeah, you're right. You don't want to fall too far down there. Worley was interesting last night, and you ask about the fight in this team, and there are no moral victories. It's another loss at 6 in a row. But I thought last night was an example, at least, of the blood and guts that this team represents, and I think they are a pretty resilient bunch. Worley individually, there've been a lot of pitchers that are hit like that. They're looking to come out. They get to that 8th hitter in the first inning, and they're looking, get me out of here. I'm getting killed. He figured out what he was doing wrong. And he pitched 5 shutout innings after that, wound up striking out 8. It's a shame there are no mulligans in baseball, because he drove that first one so far into the woods. You couldn't find that one. And the team itself, they got the tying run on base before the 6th inning was over. They didn't come up with the key hit once
even
again.
Early Alvarez, a couple chances, double play ball. What did you think of the experiment at first? With
He didn't look real comfortable there, I didn't think. His feet were tangled up a couple of times. There were no major costly things, but it's going to take a little while. But a couple of, they didn't make it easy on him. There were a lot of throws all over the place over there. It wasn't a typical. He didn't have to make throws. I thought he looked okay in terms of cutoffs and stuff like that. But a couple of times when throws were wild, or it was a pitcher to first, where one of those exchanges, he looked like me dancing at a wedding. It was not pretty.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Cleveland still stinks. Browns awful last night too.
At least no Pirates flipped anybody off going to the
Let
dugout.
Your fingers do the talking there, Johnny. CashInCulture.com brings you the Trib Live Radio Morning Sports Report.